There we go. All right.
This is Danny Phantom versus American Dragon Jake Long.
3, 2, 1. Danny Phantom versus American Dragon Jake Long. Rick, who you got, brother?
I got my man's Jake.
Oh, you tripping. Go ahead. I'll let you.
So you saying you got Danny?
Who else?
You think Danny Phantom?
I'm not picking the dumb shit you just picked. Go ahead.
No, I think you should go first.
I
think because you're gonna build yourself on the hill, and I'm gonna take you out. So you go first.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I want you to go first. 3, 2. Let's get it. Go first. Go ahead. Talk to me. Let me know what it is. Why is this bum ass nigga?
So this is what it is, right? People only look at Jake for what his abilities are, right? Mm-hmm. He could turn into a dragon. That comes with a very large and expansive list of attributes and abilities.
Yes, sir.
Breathing fire, partial transformations, being able to see certain things that other people can't see with his dragon vision, being able to turn parts of his body dragon-like, even breathing fire outside of his dragon form. Mm-hmm. All things American Dragon Jake Long in his training phase was able to do, right? If we're talking about end of series, Jake, he's already dealt with some of the greatest mythological creatures in history. Because people like to forget that American Dragon Jake Long didn't just deal with dragons. Mm-hmm. It dealt with every mystical being across all of mythology. Mm. From leprechauns to mermaids to ghosts. Okay. In the American Dragon Jake Long universe, guess what? Magical creatures can touch ghosts. Mm-hmm. And usually ghosts are invisible to normal people. Except if you're a magical person, you can see ghosts. Mm-hmm. So if let's say the ghost rules are shared across the board, because there are some dragons in Danny Phantom. So if we were to say that for this matchup that the rules are shared between both universes, mm-hmm. Jake can put hands on Danny even if Danny doesn't want him to put hands on him.
Okay.
And due to his magical nature of being a dragon, which the dragons in the American Dragon Jake Long are known as protectors of the mythological realm, like basically the guardians between what is known and what is not known, which is why they are both human and dragon, so they can balance between both worlds. That puts him at an advantage of having worldwide knowledge of almost all magical creatures taught to him by his grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Knowledge is power.
So, if we were to talk about like Danny's greatest feats, I think Jake could deal with him with a dash of prep time. And I think he could even deal with him without it. Random encounter, because Danny has never dealt with something like that.
That's cap. I did my research. Danny Phantom has not only beaten one dragon, he's beaten two.
Yes.
He's beaten two dragons. And it was easy. This. And listen, it was easy.
It was easy.
It was light work. It was almost not even an inconvenience. Mm-hmm. Didn't even take the full episode. Yep. It's like 12 minutes.
Yep.
The episode is 23.
Yep.
So that's one thing.
Yep.
But I do respect Jake. Jake is a beast, you know. He has his feats. But every ability that he has, Danny has, and he's better at it. He's faster. He flies faster. Jake, I found out, can also go invisible sometimes. Danny's a ghost. Danny's a ghost. Jake can shoot fire from his mouth. That's great. Danny can literally shoot beams from every part of his body. Also, he can fart beams, which is odd. But if he grab him from behind real quick, he could be like, toot, and then blow him back. I don't know why. I don't know why that was in the show, but I guess that was important. Without flight, he has superhuman speed in general. So he's fat. Yeah, it was in his stats. He has superhuman agility. He can take as much as he can dish out. No diddy.
He has durability.
He has extreme durability. And he can create ghostly constructs. Yep. So Jake does have a lot of great abilities. He can do a lot of great things, but everything he does, Danny just does better. Mm-hmm. And I feel like with prep time, like, look at who Danny's parents are. Look at what Danny does with prep time. Random encounter might be a little different because it's like, oh shit, this is a dragon. Fuck. I got to figure this out. Prep time is definitely clips. And I think he can still win on random encounter as well.
So, I knew we were going to take this route.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've already counterpointed this.
Okay.
Danny has defeated dragons,
but
the reason why I said he's never dealt with anything like Jake is because he dealt with ghost dragons. Ghost dragons were dragons that were defeated. You know who else defeated ghost dragons? Jake. Jake actually defeated the strongest dark dragon in history, who was basically the culmination of multiple dragons all into the form of one single dragon.
But he's also a dragon. So.
But guess what? Jake defeated him before he even completed his training. You know what else? Jake has training. Jake has a slew. He has a Avatar-esque level of ancestral background that he can call upon to then figure out what to do in any given situation.
What Danny we talking about? Danny been fighting crime. If we talking about end of series, Danny.
Yeah.
Danny been fighting crime for years, all through high school.
Yeah, he's been fighting crime for years. Plural, years.
Yeah.
Danny's family has been protecting the magical world for almost hundreds of those years.
He hasn't, though. Just because you got niggas chatting to you, he hasn't been. So, his family has.
So I have a question for
Having
you.
niggas chatting to you don't just make you better. Bill Russell can talk to niggas all day. That don't mean they gonna be good defenders.
So I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Are not some of the greatest, I would say, even athletes, fighters in history taught by someone? Is there a fighter? No, is there a fighter in history who is able to fight at the level of world class, like either other combatants and athletes, without being taught by someone who has knowledge of their fighting experience, even if it doesn't equal what they've done themselves or the abilities that they have?
I think it's possible.
Experience in lieu of everything.
I'm not taking away from being taught. I'm just saying that doesn't automatically, because a lot of niggas have been taught. That don't make you good.
And I would say, but then
is what I'm saying. I get what you're saying.
No, I don't think you really do, because Jake and Danny have almost, if we're talking about end of series, almost the same amount of time
season.
Not even just seasons, the same amount. Like if we were just look at it, Danny got his powers in high school or like somewhere in there. Jake,
was he a freshman?
Yeah. I would say probably freshman, sophomore.
I didn't do my reading. I should have figured that out. Yeah.
Jake has had the ability to transform into a dragon. I want to say not as early as his sister, because I think his sister was like
first.
She was very on the. No, she wasn't first, but she was younger than Jake when he could fully transform into a dragon. I think Jake might have been able to.
High school too?
I think that's when he could fully transform into a dragon by that point.
Right.
Because he knew everything about it by that point. He just wasn't able to do it yet. I want to say. I don't think he was in the dark, but I might have to rewatch that first episode.
Yeah.
He might have been in the dark for all I know.
Because I'm sorry. I mean, because part of me feel like he turned into it and he was like, "What the fuck." I could be wrong.
That sounds a little familiar, but I feel like it's 50-50. I want to say he knew a bit about it because
his mom.
But I think his mom also might have hid some stuff as well because she wasn't a dragon. But even then, at most, they both got their powers around the same time.
That's fair.
And Jake had someone who understood everything that was happening with him and could tell him stuff that was going to happen before it happened. Whereas Danny is learning new things on the fly. He's not even sure about his full capabilities, and that's going to hinder him.
Is Bronny better than Cooper Flag?
You
don't know who I'm talking about.
No, I do. Okay. That's like asking, has Cooper Flag never worked with someone in his basketball? Like, I understand what you're saying in terms of Bronny
having with
LeBron
and not just that, all his friends working with him since he was 1, 2, whatever.
Yes.
Cooper Flag is from Maine.
Yeah, but
he works with NBA guys now, probably.
Yeah, but that's
growing up, he worked with his dad, his mom, regular people. I'm not saying they're probably good at basketball, but they're not LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, guys like that. So I'm saying, is Bronny better than Cooper Flag?
In this instance, I understand what you're saying, and yes, Cooper Flag is better. But what I'm saying here is that Jake isn't in the Bronny situation. He's not. Like he's not. He holds up to the standard. If there is a standard, if we're saying like Bronny holds up to LeBron, Jake has been one of the greatest dragons and been one of the greatest dragons because dragons still exist. There's still a bunch of them. There's a whole school of them. He's been out of the box, unorthodox with his dragoning, but still being one of the top dragons to, like I said, beat the darkest dragon to ever exist in history. and he wasn't following any of the tradition. And in dragons, I know come from like in especially in American Dragon, they come from all the different mythologies of dragons. So there's like the African idea of a dragon, the Scandinavian idea of a dragon. Like, so there's all those different forms. And Jake was getting treated like he was a nobody, and he still was him. And there's even a whole group, just like Danny, of people who are sought out to defeat dragons, the huntsmen. And you know what Danny did? He wiped them niggas out of existence, out of time.
He definitely did.
He took his greatest adversary and said, time space continuum, warp, and then made it to where them niggas never existed.
Three things that I just, as you were chatting, I thought of three things. One, I feel like they generally match in strength, but Danny trumps him by far in speed. Danny at his peak.
So Danny could teleport too.
He could teleport, but we're not even gonna get into that vibe. Danny is as fast as lightning, confirmed.
Okay.
He is as fast as Jake is. He's not as fast as lightning. So if they're relatively matched in strength, and
I don't
Danny,
think they are. I think Jake is stronger than Danny.
I don't think Danny caught a bus like a football, brother.
I think
a bus with
Jake,
kids on.
I think Jake stopped the train.
But okay, so what's the difference?
He's a full blown dragon.
But I'm saying catching a bus like you're Randy Moss and just cupping
Spider-Man
it.
couldn't stop a train.
Spider-Man. Well, we're not talking about Spider-Man.
I'm just saying.
Spider-Man couldn't stop a train. That is true.
Are we saying Danny's stronger than Spider-Man?
But can Spider-Man catch a bus like a football though? Like,
probably not. Well, it depends on the spider. It depends on the spider.
That's true too. Peter Parker is what I'm saying. But
yeah.
Second, push come to shove, Danny could just possess that nigga. And I know that's a dirty move.
No, he cannot.
And I know that's a dirty move.
No, he cannot. That's why I stated if it's shared universe, because Jake is a magical creature. As long as he's in his dragon's form, he cannot be possessed.
He could creep up on him at night and just possess him.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
Danny
could play the dirty game, man.
Yeah, he could play dirty if he really wanted to, if Jake was really giving him a problem. And most of all, I think this is the most
They both get
important.
tired. Danny is not immune to tired, whether in ghost or human form. Jake has been able to sleep in his dragon form. I don't think I've ever seen Danny sleep in his ghost form. Not saying that he can't. I just, off the top of my head, I can't remember, but he could. If you guys remember in the comments.
Yeah, I don't know if he can sleep in his
But I
ghost
know
form.
for a fact that Jake has gotten knocked out in his dragon form and woken up in his dragon form.
That's fair. Okay, so, I'll give you that. But the most important thing...
I've seen Danny get knocked out of his transformation.
Earlier on, yes.
I seen that nigga say, go and go.
Yeah. And not be a ghost no more.
He
was a teenager. He was definitely a teenager. That is a fact. Yeah. But most importantly, and I think the people at home can attest to this, Danny did one of the most greatest feats that any character could ever do. He defeated himself, man.
He did.
He defeated himself. And that's an evil version of himself. Probably the best version of himself. He beat him as a teenager. He did have help. He did have help.
We talk about 1v1s. They both get help. Don't get me wrong. They both get help.
I was
about to say.
So
y'all both got a little team on them.
Danny was able to defeat an older, stronger, smarter, experienced version of himself who was determined to stop him.
Yes.
And I think that's the most outstanding feat of them all, defeating oneself.
That's a nasty school presentation ending.
Danny and 6.
Danny and 6. I'm going to still stick with my man Jake.
You had some good points.
People have him as a sleeper. I just feel like because of, if we're talking about shared universe, right? If they're both independently working with their own, even then, if we're not talking about shared universe, Jake has already been stated
he's a mystical being.
As a mystical being, he cannot be affected in the same way. Like, we've never seen in Danny fandom, I don't think we've ever seen a ghost possess a ghost. We've seen ghosts possess Danny when he's in his human form, but I don't think we've ever seen a ghost take over Danny
in ghost form. No,
they might. They do a lot with that show. That's not consistent.
Actually, not, because I've seen. Yeah. It might not have been Danny. I have seen other ghosts.
I feel like I remember Danny with red eyes, but I think that was his
He
future
was mad.
self.
Wasn't he mad because Sam was doing some shit?
There was a lot.
He
of
was
things,
mad
yeah.
about some shit Sam was doing.
There was a lot of things.
Don't hoes just get you out of character, man. Don't, like, damn, brother. Like, Danny a chill dude. But you did have some good points that I didn't clock.
Yeah.
But I still got Danny in 6, brother.
Still got Danny.
You got any closing statement? That was my closing statement.
I'm just saying.
If we're talking about end of series, he's learned a lot from Granddad.
Yeah.
Foo Dog has bestowed upon him wisdom. I just feel like Danny has been left on his own a lot, which shows his strength of character of being able to overcome that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there's just something that comes with having a blueprint, per se, that gives a lot more room for growth.
Okay.
Because you kind of know what you have to work on because you have something to compare yourself to. Where Danny isn't.
I feel like learning in the trenches is work.
No,
because you like, I gotta figure this out right now. I can't call nobody.
No, learning in the trenches makes you versatile. It makes you flexible. It makes you be able to really think outside the box. But sometimes when you think outside of the box like that, when you've been stuck with like the idea of like you're an unorthodox fighter, you can only work with what you're given. You lack like some of the fundamental knowledge that has been passed down, like when it comes to certain techniques working and why it doesn't work, or just like the kind of like the pure concept of fighting. You might be missing out on some of those things. But you might be able to adapt to those situations when they do come up. That's what I was going to say.
Do you think that would hinder Jake in that situation too? Because Danny, like we said, in the trenches, he's like, I have to figure this out now or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Jake, he's been in situations like that too. Don't get me wrong. But he can't talk to Granddad like after the fact and peep what he did wrong or what he could have did better. Danny is just like, I need to figure this out now, and if I don't, I'm done.
But Granddad Granddad gave Jake the stamp of approval, saying that I've taught you all I've known, but you are at the point where you are a true defender of both the mystic realm and of the regular realm. So,
that's valid. Well, I got Danny in 6.
I think Jake can fight outside of his dragon form. I don't think Danny got hands when he's a human.
That's a little racist. Why do you think Jake can fight outside of his?
Because Jake was training to fight in both his dragon and his human form. There was multiple times where it showed him in.
And Danny just a nerd, nigga. So we not talking about that though. Danny not gonna get caught.
I'm just saying
lacking.
If they both, let's say they both even out and they both depower. I just feel like
that's a good point. Depowering. You got me. If we power down and we can't power back
he's
up,
the chosen one.
Yeah, no, he might work.
Even when I'm bragging,
Danny's just a nerd nigga.
I'm the American dragon.
But Danny learned how to beef later. Like he learned how to beef in his ghost form.
Go about to say
just
right.
Just because he in his human form don't mean he don't know how to throw hands.
But he doesn't have that like base lightning quickness anymore.
No, he don't.
Or
but
that extra strength anymore. So some of those wild haymakers don't feel the same when they land.
True, he didn't train. He didn't train him.
He did. Yeah, he didn't train.
He working off what works when he has extra abilities. He might not know how to throw a punch when he don't got the lightning speed to back. Like,
he
land.
He can throw it.
Yeah.
Now, is it gonna be the same? That's a different question. I think he could throw the punches.
I think we talk about human. I think Danny throw a wild haymaker. I think that slip weave punch. I think that slip weave counter.
That's a fact. Hey.
Okay, listen. Okay, how about this? Powered up, Danny. Powered down, Jake. I could co-sign that.
I'll get behind that.
There you go. Let us know what y'all think in the comments down below. Do you got Danny? Do you got Jake?
Basically the same dude, honestly.
They kind of
are. If you really think about it. He got his powers at 13. So did Danny. So they're literally equal.
We can't, when we blow up, we want to buy certain characters. We can't buy Jake. That's Disney. Disney's not flinching on their characters.
They're not doing nothing with
I
him.
think they not going to. Disney don't sell nothing, bro. They buy. They don't sell. But we can buy Danny Phantom because Butch Hartman ain't doing nothing. And Dan Schneider don't own Danny Phantom. So he won't be weird about it. We can just negotiate and try to figure something out. But let us know what y'all think in the comments down below. Do you got Danny? Do you got Jake? Do you think Jake can hit him with the slip weave punch in the human form?
That's a question.
Let us
I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure you like,
counter.
make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And what else, Rick? What is it?
Dragging up! Drag.
He got the better theme song.
He do 100%.
His theme song
He
is
got-
up, yeah.
Well, he has the better transformation theme song. Danny has the better overall theme song.
General
Like
theme
the-
song.
Yeah. R&P moves, R&P groove, ayy. Yeah, I've been in the R&P mood, ayy. Oh yeah, ayy. Oh yeah, ayy. R&P moves, R&P news, ayy. Yeah, now we making R&P moves, ayy.